Hello, and welcome to RIME Entertainment Showcase with your hosts, Rita and Mel.
Hi everyone, and welcome to RIME Entertainment Showcase. Yes, the tree is up.
The tree is up.
Tree's up.
Got
It
a star
is
above the crown.
officially. Oh, I've got
She's
a star on my head.
Yay! Anyway.
Enough of that. You know Christmas is on its way. It's literally 2 weeks away. Oh my gosh. Less than, actually. But anyway, today we are speaking to Karishma Dev Dube. She is a writer and director based in New York, but born and raised in India. And we are going to talk about lots of interesting projects that she is a part of and has already had her distribution of her short films, Devi, and of course Bittu, which we go into a lot more detail shortly.
Yeah, and again, it's another
inspirational interview.
Yeah.
Yes, she is one busy lady, and we are so proud of what she's accomplished today. So definitely stay tuned for that interview, and also stay tuned for the trailer and clip that we'll be showing about Bittu as well, or of Bittu, get my words right.
Yep.
So again, don't forget to head over to Spotify as well, where you can download your copy of LIFE by Daryl. So again, some excellent music by Daryl, so make sure you head over to Spotify or iTunes and download his album today.
Now, let's watch the interview.
Hi everyone, and welcome to RIME Entertainment Showcase. Today we are speaking to writer and director Karishma Dev Dube. Thank you so much, Karishma, for being our guest. Welcome to RIME Entertainment Showcase.
Yeah, thank you for talking to me. I'm happy to be here.
Excellent.
Pleasure. So tell us about your journey into making films. How did it all start, and where did that passion begin?
I don't know. I feel like it's hard to grow up in India and kind of not, separate yourself from films. It's taken very seriously, and it's like a massive part of the mainstream as well. So I think I just love movies from a long time. I had a lot of informal storytellers in my family who kind of, taught me a lot about structure and character in just like bedtime stories. But I didn't start to take it seriously until I moved to Bombay for undergrad. My sister was just starting off as a cinematographer in the city, and I was kind of always surrounded by, writers and actors, and so it kind of like demystified the process for me a little bit, because filmmaking can be a bit of a far reach. Otherwise, it feels so make believe that there are people on the other side of the camera. So I think at that time my obsession shifted from like actors to filmmakers and people who were like behind movies as opposed to in it. But then I don't think I'd really made a film before I went to the NYU grad film program. That was about 6 years ago now. So I moved to New York and kind of just never left. But it, started to feel home very quickly. I learned everything about the craft in school. So NYU's been pretty foundational for me that way.
Yeah,
excellent.
Yeah. Was it when you were learning about the foundation and the craft, was there a lot of surprises for you? Because obviously, seeing things behind the scenes in Bombay and then actually learning, were you quite surprised at how much was involved?
I may have like interned on one feature before moving to NYU, and so I didn't have much to compare it to, if I'm honest. I hadn't really like started shadowing a filmmaker in Bombay or any such thing. My sister was also kind of just starting out, so my education around her was limited to like the films we liked to watch and things we talk about after. So I was pretty green and kind of like open and impressionable when I went to NYU, which in retrospect was probably the best way to do it, because I kind of, when I arrived and I started making films, they kind of like push you into it in the first 5 years. You have to like write, direct, edit, produce your stuff from the first semester, and you kind of, the program is built so you make about 5 short films by the time you're out of it, and maybe a feature script or whatever. So it was very hands-on. So I figured out what I was good at and wasn't good at through a process of elimination. And, I learned how to cut and transition scenes and use music there. But I also had like a very deep conditioning in, it was also the first time I actually seriously started watching like global cinema, at NYU, like films from the other places other than India in a very serious way or critical way. Yeah. So my conditioning was basically in Bollywood. Yeah. So I think that's kind of seeped into my, it kind of seeped into my education in different ways. Like I wasn't very afraid of melodrama. I think people are a bit scared of that word. Or like I wasn't, I of course, like I understood the power of an image, but I tend to write more dialogue than people around me were. Like it wasn't so restrained. There's a lot of fumbling through that to figure out. I'm still figuring it out, but to figure out the right way or the right balance of my conditioning and my education. Basically.
Okay, excellent. So moving on to, for yourself making films, what is your particular inspiration? What drives you to make a film?
I don't know, it feels like such a simple question, but it's also like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes the story usually gets stuck in your head and you just have to get it out of your system. I think sometimes you don't even know why you're making something till or you're finished and you kind of go watching it in a room full of people. But for me, I guess I don't know how to answer that except like my into a story, and what kind of keeps me there is probably the protagonist or the characters. And I think I'm interested in like building a universe around them that I can control. That sounds really obnoxious, but it's a little bit it's kind of like if I'm trying to write about something that happened to me or it stems from an experience or a phase in my life, I try to kind of recreate that with the elements I thought that kind of kicked into to create that condition in me at that time. So it's just I think character and building a world that kind of sucks me in.
Yeah, that's great. So your film Devi was a big hit with the film festivals and also part of an initiative with BBC World. Can you tell us a bit more about this and about being part of this big initiative?
Yeah, Devi was like my first film that I kind of let out into the world. The film program at NYU was built around your second year. It was my second year film. It was the first time I got to go back to India to shoot and, work with, it was the first time I was working with professional actors as well. Before then, it was all like first-time performers. So it was very educational for me, and it's very close to my heart. I kind of made it in my childhood home with like 5 friends of mine. So it felt really safe. Like I could make mistakes and just do whatever, but it was really cool that I found any kind of validation on the other side of it, because it felt like in many ways the first film I made, because it just, I kind of found my confidence on that set in some sense. But BFI has been a massive support. They've been so good to me. It's like both my films have found a home there. I went to, I think it was in 2017 for BFI, and then we went back in March for BFI Flair. And it was during that time that it was an initiative between BBC and British Council called 5 Films for Freedom. So it basically amplified 5 queer films from the BFI program to like, a lot of the countries that were basically under the British Council. So they focused a lot on the South Asian area as well, like India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and all of these places, some places in the Middle East as well. Many countries where, homosexuality was still pretty much opposed legally and socially. Which was really cool because they had British Council in India is also like an institution where you go to just kind of train for your TOEFL or learn Spanish or something like that, So it kind of gets a lot of students and young people from all, kind of across classes that come there for training. So that kind of got a lot of eyes on my film, which was really cool because they put the film online for 10 days on YouTube. So I got like a lot of viewers from from home that I couldn't make it happen otherwise, without this. Like I didn't really find a festival where I could have the film would have that wide reach. So they were really cool. It was also kind of scary because I kind of went to London and they had like a bit of a PR run over the course of 3 days. So we went. There was a segment at BBC World, and I didn't know that it was BBC Live till I got there, and I've never really done an interview before. So I don't know why in my like naivety I was like, oh, is it a radio interview and they were like, no, it's a TV interview. I said, cool. And then even then I was like, it's probably taped, but so I can like give a few takes, but it was live and it was starting in 10 minutes.
Oh wow!
Oh my gosh!
They put me into like a green room and started putting makeup on me, and I was like, I don't know, it was just so surreal. I didn't know it was happening till I was basically mic'd and waiting on the other side. But it went well, and it was very educational very quickly. We spoke in Westminster Abbey that evening, and they were like, there was such a warm reception, and the other 5 filmmakers, I think of them very fondly, and it was a very special time. So I'm very grateful for BFI and British Council.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, what an amazing journey. I mean, especially the fact, like you said, you created this with your friends, you felt so comfortable, and then before you know it, you're already kind of getting into this distribution of films, and then you're on live TV. I mean, I can imagine like the whole journey must have been just an influx of emotions, feeling overwhelmed and just being really happy as well with the results. So
it was really exciting. I remember the first day that we arrived, they said we're doing like this Facebook live event in the Tower of London, and we're gonna have some projections and stuff. So we arrived there in the evening, and they literally projected the films on the Tower of London. And I don't think I understood that when I arrived. It was like really, I think I kind of went into it pretty blind, so it was always like a happy surprise and also insane.
I think sometimes that works though, just go in not knowing, and then just be prepared to be wowed, and be prepared to be pleasantly surprised. And I think sometimes it's a nice feeling as well, because you might have thought, okay, it's just going to be in a room, a private screening or something, and then next minute it's on London. Great.
I mean, that's insane. I also like the dichotomy of being a short filmmaker is also like, you give an interview at BBC and then you're like broke for dinner. It's like it was really, but given all of that, it was really a happy time in my life. I was there with like a friend of mine from film school. I was like, I'm not going alone. So we were like in London together, and it was a good time. Yeah.
Amazing.
Great. And your first film, I mean, wow.
Exactly.
That's just
thank you.
Congrats on that. So moving on, so we spoke about BFI. Now moving on to your latest short, Bittu. I mean, what an amazing film. Like, we watched it and we were just like, we have to speak to Karishma. It's so good. And I mean, so it's a Student Academy Award winner, part of the BFI London Film Festival this year and other film festivals. Tell us, can you share a little bit more with the audience about Bittu? What is it about? And, what was your inspiration from creating such an amazing film?
Yeah, I mean, it's inspired from by a very infamous tragedy that happened in India 2013. India has a really big food program for government school kids called the Midday Meal Scheme, where they basically give free lunch to what primary education is also free in India. So it's a very like a low income government schooling, and they provide free lunches and incentive for attendance. So it's for the most part it's pretty good. I did a lot of research before shooting the film, and it basically the onus is on the local community and how you kind of prepare the food. So sometimes it's like a lack of accountability and all of that. So I mean, in 2013, the food was prepared in a like not in a very sanitary way, and it was an accident and a mistake. Like at a part of a normal day that kind of tragically resulted in the death of 23 kids because the food was poisoned. But this, it's happened before then and it's happened since. But this particular time, I think because the number was so big and, the cook had already complained to the principal about the food being a little funky. And I don't know, something about the narrative just caught everyone's imagination. And there was a lot of footage and like media from all over the world and a lot of images coming out of that incident because it kind of went on. The villagers protested and stuff for some kind of accountability after. So it just was a bit haunting and just like stayed in my heart for a long time. And I actually started writing it before Devi, and I was trying to make it work as my second year film, but it just felt too big and I didn't really figure it out. I didn't know what my aim was because I didn't want to make like an investigative social drama,
Yeah.
So, but it was basically, the character of Bittu that stuck with me the whole time for those 2 years. And then I kind of started writing again because I really just wanted to make her come alive, She's like a bit of a, like an adult in a small person's body.
Definitely.
The kids in India are like, they go through a lot of shit, but they're like very kind of beyond their years. They're very wise and dependable and reliable and resourceful and, what's the word? Just resilient, and there's a lot of like, I know it's kind of like a Slumdog vibey thing, which is like, it's a bit sensationalized, but it stems from some kind of truth, like there's a lot of wonderful, insane qualities in kids who just live so independently so early. So Bittu is a bit like that, and she's kind of unaware of gender norms and just kind of is an individual in like a very uniformed place and traditional society. She doesn't just take something and accept it if she's told that it's right. She like poke it and question it. So I kind of wanted to also focus on, I think ultimately became a little bit about, it also stems from my experiences in school. I went to a boarding school. It was great and all of that. But like, there's always a sense of like authority that you can't question in India. Like there's no conversation. It's a one-way street, So I kind of put her in a situation like that where she felt like, she couldn't question anything or anyone and got into a bit of a power struggle with the authorities because of it. And ultimately, like, you just feel like you're following this kid through a normal day of school. Eventually you realize that, it's the day that poisoning happened. So I kind of knew the end, but also like not literally, but like I wanted her to be saved by her individualism somehow, so it felt like it was always two movies at the same time. But, I wanted to like be embedded in the perspective of this 8-year-old girl who's, happy despite her circumstance and has these qualities that are very uplifting, and the world around her keeps failing her. But it's also about the two girls and their friendship and how that is changed on this particular day.
That definitely came across.
Absolutely.
I mean, just Bittu's character and how strong she was, but also how
independent,
mischievous she was as well.
Everything was captured
it was
perfectly.
like, and the fact, that end scene, what happened, and as you said, the relationship between her and her best friend was captured really well. Me and Mel, we were like, this has to be a feature film.
Yeah.
Karishma, make this a feature.
We
Like,
want to know
expand
more.
it. I wanna
Maybe
know more about
Bittu in
Bittu,
10 years'
yeah.
time. How did she survive from this incident? You know, it's just absolutely amazing. And again, just there's certain points in the film as well with Bittu, just her character, her expressions, everything about her in the relationship with her friends was just, again, you got into that, and then you almost see in the background what's going on, and then as soon as we got to the end, we were just like, oh my gosh, like what happened? Like, no, this can't possibly like have happened. But again, like you said, it's like two films in one, but it's just it was just really well put together, Karishma, so well done.
Thank you.
It's so good.
Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's also like I mean, I'm not taking any credit away from me. I think I lost a few years making the film, but it's also, I know that the strength of the film is basically Rani, the girl who played Bittu. I got very lucky, and I don't think I could have done it with anybody else. And it was just bizarre that I wrote someone so specific, and I found someone to play it exactly, better than I'd ever imagined it, to be honest. She brought so much more. I don't know, like she'd never acted, but she liked an audience, and more than anything, like I think about it, and she was like ready to do this, but it was just it was almost like we were kind of there for each other, you know, like it was like on the basis of our friendship. So I feel like I found this really special person, and like, you know, we won a Student Academy Award, and she doesn't understand it or give a shit. I said, you know, it's a big deal. It's like the biggest award you could ever get. She's like, cool, what's happening? What else? You know, like, she doesn't really, she puts things in perspective, you know. But she's really like a little star, and you know, I'm very grateful to have found her.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what was it like filming Bittu? Obviously, knowing that it's based on a true story as well. What was it like? You know, because I know that you filmed in a school, like with the children. How was the whole atmosphere with it?
Yeah, it was really tough in terms of just production and casting. It was like my first big outdoor shoot in India. I had you know, for the first time, I had like a big professional crew that I was paying industry rates. You know, I was not making this with my friends, you know. All like the head of departments were people I'd never worked with before. It was the first time I worked with my sister who shot the film. So it was like a lot of newness. I had a very good friend of mine, Mary Evangelista, they came down and produced it. And like I'm producing their feature as well right now. So we kind of have been working very closely for the last 3 years. So it was, you know, we tried to run it like a set the way we've learned, but it was impossible. Like, I think things in India are very different. And I think what changed everything was the fact that we had like 23 kids on set, you know, and so everyone had a job, but they also had to be a babysitter. And it was not a school, but we basically found this really nice organic farm in like the foothills of Uttarakhand, that we kind of turned it into a school. The classroom scenes were shot in a different school, like a walk away from that place. But you know, we basically realized that we couldn't fit ourselves or schedule into like a working school. That was being, you know, it turned out to be much more complicated. But so once I found this location and I kind of knew that this is where it's going to be, I started just basically walking into like local communities and introducing myself. I had a really good friend who was a great actor, was a massive support on set. Her name is Nirvana Sani. She came with me and just helped me kind of audition these kids by just like playing with them and doing theater workshops with like the communities around. So we found Rani kind of pretty quickly into the process, but I didn't know that it was going to work out with her specifically for weeks, you know, because I was like looking for this kid all the time and looking at everyone really evenly. But you know, she was the first one who kind of ran out of the little village, and she was like, "What's up? You want to play?" I was like, "Yeah, let's play." I was like, "You know, it makes you nervous." She's so confident. but she's also like, she was like my teammate from the beginning, like if I had to figure out what was happening or needed context to people, she would whisper in my ear and all of that stuff. So she like slowly became pretty evident that she was going to be Bittu, and then I wanted the girls to have a relationship already. So I started looking for chance around Bittu in the same community, and we found Renu there, she was very small and very adorable, and was not going to school. She was 6 at that time, so she was like lacking in social skills. She couldn't focus on things, but she also like very vain and liked the attention as well and wanted to learn. So when I started giving them lines, and I turned some scenes into like street plays, so we could like do it together with different kids. So it felt like a game. But then it started becoming very rote, and I realized it started killing things. So I would just like go every day and teach them one specific thing. Like I knew certain lines they needed to know by heart. So I would like go and do that, and then go back every day and test them on that before we started playing, and then slowly kind of explaining that what we were doing, that this was also work, even though we're playing. Or more importantly, that Bittu is a different person and Rani is a different person. Chams is a different person and Renu. Like creating a distinction between the character and them.
Exactly.
So that when I talked about the character, they didn't get offended, because they would very often. Like Rani is actually really good at school and very smart. So she just couldn't accept the fact that Bittu didn't know how to speak in English. She's like, but I know it. Like I can figure it out. So like the scenes in which she wasn't supposed to like know what's being taught in class, I deliberately didn't teach her. I taught the rest of the class so that she would genuinely look lost, because she knows everything. So it was very educational for me working with them. I didn't know what I was doing, and I kind of had to figure it out on a daily basis. And after a while, I realized, I just had to kind of gain the parents' trust. So I would just like get my laptop and play like a film for the kids, because they don't have like electricity in that village. So I made them watch like Lion and like other kids with like films with kid protagonists, to just show them that like you can hold your laughter for 10 seconds, like if this 5-year-old kid is doing it. And then I'd show them the making and be like, did you see that big camera behind them? And then the big camera is going to come and we're going to film you. We'll be really close, but you have to look at each other. You can't look at me. So like trying to establish things like eye line and making up games, or basically just creating trust that I could use on set, So like a counting game to not smile for 10 seconds.
Wow, you've given them so much there. I mean, for you, obviously, it was a journey. I really want to make this film, but for them, they've learned so much that they're going to start bringing into their own world. And if some of them start to say, well, actually we want to become filmmakers, or we want to go into acting, it's like they've already started so young and have developed these skills. So thanks to you, you're helping them do this, and I think it's just amazing, and such a again, brilliant, incredible journey.
Definitely.
I know. I haven't done enough though. I feel like I can still, I'm trying to raise money to actually get them into a good school, and it would be great if I can just get them through to, give them an education that they deserve. And just, if ultimately there was a lot of resistance from the community and the adults, but I left with a very intimate relationship with all of them, and I really do have a lot of love for them. I talk to them often, and I'm trying to figure out a way to make a real change with them. We're trying to look for an NGO that can work with us locally and all of that. But they taught me a lot as well about just filmmaking and where to put the camera and how to manipulate the actor and also building a story around people that are real and kind of borrowing from their lives respectfully. And it was the most collaborative, like Devi was very educational because all the actors had a lot more experience than I did. And I had to kind of figure out how to come on set and have them take me seriously, to be like, I'm at the head of this film. And surprisingly, it was way tougher to do that with these kids, because sometimes they just be like, no, we don't want to do it. and we'll just be like, we have to do it. We have 3 hours left, and we have been like, but no, So like, it really taught me a lot, and it was a very formative experience for me as well. So
Definitely.
I'm very grateful.
Beautiful.
Amazing. Okay. So let's talk about your next project. So you're currently working on a feature called Burning Well. Are you able to share a bit of information about this? It seems quite exciting.
Yeah. So I'm producing this for my friend Mary, who produced Bittu, and it's their first feature. And it basically is kind of like a queer film that we thought we deserved as kids growing up and just didn't have it. So we're kind of like trying to subvert like a romantic hero goes back home and deals with a life they left behind kind of genre structure, and flipping it to make it like Filipino queer and with TikTok and social media and stuff like that. So it basically follows a deaf trans social media influencer who kind of has to go back home when they receive some news about their family, but it kind of reignites this relationship that they left behind and kind of ran away from, who's like a best friend from high school. And they've come back a new person and a completely different person, a confident person, literally like, with a different chemistry with everybody else. So they find themselves kind of falling back in love with a high school crush, but that chemistry has been definitively changed now. So it's about basically this hero kind of oscillating between the life that they've built and the one they've left behind. And it's just like a sweet film that feels real. A lot of like queer films that we watch and love very dearly are like so much about the family pushback you get when you come out, or transitioning. How does the world around you that knew you as a different person reintroduce you or like fits back into your life? And what that usually is very like confrontational, and and it is a lot of people's truth, that kind of experience. But for Mary and I, it wasn't like we have our families have been the least of our problems, and it was more about just a more internal struggle about like dealing with our own queerness and where do we fit in the world. So it's kind of like what happens after acceptance, and what happens when you embody that identity and you're growing up in the world today. Today, where like social media is such a rapidly evolving culture, and transhood is kind of generated in our generation on social media. And just seeing the process, and it brought like so much intimacy with this thing that felt so alien. Even when I was like 8 years old, like people would talk about it with a sense of otherness that's kind of disappeared with every passing year when I was in my 20s. So we're trying to like capture that existence as well. It's such a new culture that even within the queer community, we are learning how to be the right allies, even if we're not trans. So I think it excited us. Mary themselves, it's was like in between home and the hospital. Their mom was sick at the time, so it stems from a very personal place as well. And they came out as non-binary while writing the film, so it felt like a very transformative film for them. And I'm just very happy to be a part of it. We've had some movement this year. Hopefully, we attached like a lead that we were really excited about, that we wrote the film for. So we're kind of trying to move when the momentum is high, and try to get it made on the other side of this quarantine and pandemic. So
thank you so much for sharing. And I think it's such a great project to be part of. And again, it needs to be more awareness needs to take place. And again, girls are doing a fabulous job, so keep it up, and please keep us posted. Keep us
Excellent. So there are many aspiring Asian female filmmakers out there. What 3 tips would you give to someone, especially obviously being Asian and breaking into the film industry must be quite difficult for them. I mean, you as someone who's experienced this and obviously making
things happen.
Things happen. Can you share what 3 tips you would give to someone?
I honestly don't think I've broken into any industry. It's very lonely, and it's like you're constantly trying to prove yourself every day. I get like a lot of rejections, a lot more than I get accepted in places, So it's I don't know if I'm the right person to advise anyone, but I feel like I always feel better when someone validates how difficult it is. So I just would like to validate that it's not easy, like it's very hard. But I guess what's helped me going on a day-to-day basis is just like I try to do stuff that I'm actually excited about, that I can finish the work that I really need to do just to keep me afloat in the day, and then I actually still feel excited to go and like build whatever else I was building for myself. It's also important to, I think I've been very blessed to come out of a film school where I've had a very close relationship with my classmates, and I learned a lot from them, basically. Also from the school, but I learned it from my friends essentially. So, and it's been really great and a blessing to have like a tribe behind you of people who have also got a rejection letter the same day you did, So it helps to have people that are like on your team. So because it's not sustainable to just I guess be alone in this for too long. Even though some people do it beautifully, I can't. So yeah, I know. I guess like to enjoy what you're working on and have a team behind you. And I'm slowly starting to realize that I have to also build a life outside of it, that I can't like have all my life can't depend on the film I'm working on. And because right now I'm still in this phase where like I'm waking up every day hoping that I can make a feature. I don't know that, you can there's a lot of filmmakers in the world, and there are only that many avenues to make a film in the way you want to. And a lot of these filmmakers are also very good filmmakers. So it's not like it's a very saturated industry. So it's tough, and only crazy people do it. So I feel like there's like a unsaid acknowledgement of that, like, what the hell are you doing? But which is gonna keep doing it anyway. But I guess it's good to have support if you're like in this marathon,
Yeah,
Definitely.
no, that's
Excellent.
great. It's definitely important, and I think the work that you've done so far with Devi and with Bittu has made an impact. There are strong storylines, reaching people globally. So you deserve a pat on the back for the great work that you're doing, because I think it must be a case of you're working on it, so you don't appreciate it,
what we're seeing,
and we get the final product, so we get to see the whole story and how it touches our heart. And as you said, you don't realize until you hear feedback or you see it on the big screen. But you're doing an amazing job, Karishma. So well
Thank
done.
you. That means a lot to me. Devi, I was just making selfishly for an audience of one because I just hadn't seen anything like it. But I was always so surprised and touched when people reached out, and it's, you can't really like solve any problems or tackle everything that's coming out of the country with like a 17-minute film or a 12-minute film. But if I can like instigate a conversation that's uncomfortable to have, or if I can make someone feel a little less alone, I'm quite happy with it, But I think every filmmaker is seeking sustainability, which is it's hard. So I feel like I really appreciate any resonance of my work with anybody. So that makes a big difference.
And as long as you enjoy what you're doing, that's the main thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So Karishma, now's your time to really promote yourself, because we haven't been doing that already. But where can our viewers go to find out more about you and your upcoming projects?
I guess unfortunately it's my Instagram, but I'm working on a lot of stuff. I feel like I I'm going to be ready to talk about soon. But I'm working on a website, so it should be pretty easy in a month or so. It should just be my name. We're working on the website for Bittu as well for any like upcoming screenings, and if you want to host the screening, if you want to support the girls, a little bit more like a peek behind the scenes. So we're building that like in the next 2 weeks. But I'm available on every social media platform. I also love and I'm so happy to talk to anyone who has anything to say about any of the work I've done or any of the work that they're doing that they feel like they might want to connect with me. But I'm basically like in hiding for the next few months to just like I realize I don't think I have another short film in me, so I'm trying to work on my feature now. But I keep there are 2 stories I'm writing about that feel very close to me, and I'm constantly like moving between them on a daily basis. One is based in India, and it's kind of inspired from my grandfather's funeral. We have a very big family of women, and they're really loud and beautiful and amazing and dysfunctional, but strong and confident and all over the world. And it's kind of about us being summoned to a household over a weekend, and roles shifting, and it's like a comedy drama, I guess. But it's a bit in the world of Devi, and it just talks about the women in my life. And the other one it's a bit more, I'm still figuring it out. It's kind of based in my last 3 years in New York, kind of. It's like a grandiose breakup film. But it's kind of like like an ode to like all the people I've loved and met, and I guess what it feels like to be a brown person in this time of identity politics in New York, where everything was very black and white, and I was very brown, and I was not like a first generation American. I'm like very much cooked and made in India, and have like trying to assimilate or become a part of the society at a much later point in my life as like a fully formed person. But I've met a lot of amazing people and been a part of very different divergent communities just by because I'm brown. Like you realize you can be a part of or be comfortable in very different rooms. Not like everybody else. So it's kind of like I don't know, stems from that place. I'm still figuring out both of them, but whenever I'm ready to talk about it, it'll be easily available. And it's my one goal of 2020 to have a website up, because it feels stupid not to, because I just for the sole reason that if people want to get in touch with me, they can. So I'm working on that, and it should be up at the end of the year.
Perfect, amazing. And what we'll do, we will post those links out to all of our viewers on our social media.
Thank you.
So they can head over and get in touch with you. Okay.
That would be great. Thanks so much.
No worries. So thank you so much for your time, Karishma. Again, I'm overwhelmed with your journey. It's been so exciting, and we can't wait to hear more about your new projects, your films again, or including the last films that you've already spoken about. They they sound amazing, and exactly the sort of things that we like to watch. So we're definitely looking forward to hearing more from you. But again, thank you so much for your time today.
Of course, thank you for your time and giving me this platform.
अच्छे बच्चे कैसे होते हैं?
Sound of S.
आम धाम ततावले साजिन की कट्टी।
बहुत हो गया, चलो सीधा प्रिंसिपल के ऑफिस में।
जब तक तुम सॉरी नहीं बोल देते तुम्हारा आज का खाना बंद। सुना तूने?
Well, that was an incredible interview. Karishma not only inspired us, but she shared so much knowledge,
a lot of backgrounds. You know, her films are amazing. If you haven't checked them out yet,
Go ahead.
better go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, when she has her website running and we have more information about the charity to make sure that these amazing children get the education that they deserve, we will definitely inform you all with the links and where to donate your money. Okay, right. So, I mean, can't say any more about the interview. It was just so inspirational, and if you're not inspired yet, I don't know what will inspire you, but definitely make sure you head over to Instagram and follow Karishma. And again, all of her details will be in the descriptions below. And also, when you're heading over to Instagram and following Karishma, you can also follow us.
Exactly.
So make sure you head over to @RIME Entertainment Official, or our other Instagram, which is @sisters_in_rhyme. And how are we spelling rhyme? RIME. So, I mean, what can I say? You know, we've got another episode coming up to end the year. I can't believe it already. 2020 is already over, and we're heading into 2021. Make sure you've got your goals list. Start setting them, you know, writing them once, checking them twice, you know, making sure that you're going to stay, well, you know, you're going to stay nice. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about naughty or nice. We're going to stay nice. But anyway, whilst you're writing your goals list, go to Spotify and download LIFE by Daryl. So again, some really good music on there. You know, LIFE, the actual title of the song as well as the album. And of course, one of our other favourites is 1, 2, 3. So again, going to be featured at the end of this episode today.
So until next time,
exactly,
we will let you be, but keep staying inspired and keep following us and watching our show. Take care. Bye.
Monster. 1, 2, 3. It's your boy, they call the real MC. I'm from NOLA, UTT. I'm on top of the world, baby. It is crazy. 1, 2, 3. It's your boy, they call the real MC. I'm from NOLA, UTT. I'm on top of the world, baby. It is crazy. It's that skate feed from the UPT. I took flight from the hood in '93. Cats were mad at me. They didn't understand that I was sinking in my life like quicksand. God had a plan and a strategy, relocating me for my destiny. Now I'm being who I'm supposed to be. Yo, a positive, uplifting fire MC. 1, 2, 3. It's your boy, they call the real MC.